Is the narcissist intentionally trying to hurt you, trying to destroy your life, or not? Is it just something that they're stuck with and that's just their modus operandi and that's how they continue moving forward, hurting and abusing, but it's not intentional, it's just something that, they're struggling with? What does it actually look like? How does this actually impact you of knowing whether it's intentional or not? Here's the thing is sometimes people ask the question, they're looking for the intentionality behind the abuse that's happening. Somehow thinking that if the intention isn't bad or if it's not intentional, then it justifies the abuse or it makes it not as bad. Because, well, if he's not intending to hurt me, then, maybe he actually does love me or maybe he actually does care. I want to break down some of the thoughts behind this and some of the piece of intentionality that happens with a narcissist in a narcissistic relationship when he's coming at you, belittling you, gaslighting you, abusing you. Is it actually intentional or not? So if you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness, growth, healing, change, and development for people who are trying to break free from narcissistic abuse. The founder of Realm Motivations and your guide in the 45-day Clarity Challenge. You can access at claritychallenge.net to start breaking free today, right now. One of the things that people ask all the time is about the intentionality piece. Okay, trying to determine whether the narcissist intentionally hurt them or if there's other factors at play. Now, the hard part is when you're in this, you're coming from a place of hurt. You're coming from a place of this emotional turmoil of like, I don't know what to believe. I'm really hurt. I'm really confused. I'm left in distress because of everything that's actually happened. Oftentimes putting you in a place not just of heightened confusion, but also a lot of self-doubt. Doubting your own intentions, your own worth, your own validation of who you actually are because of how this other person has shown up. This oftentimes impacts you in a negative way, puts strain on other relationships, and causes damages personally and professionally to the different connections and the people that you have in your life. But what does this actually impact? How does this actually hurt? Because narcissistic abuse is very, very real. Some people still think that it's not. They still think it's made up or that, everybody's calling their ex narcissist. No, narcissistic abuse is really real. And it leads to some huge causes physically of where there's stress-related health issues, there's overall well-being concerns, there's anxiety, there's panic attacks, there's autoimmune diseases, there's all this different stuff just induced from stress of being in the toxic relationship. It ends up impacting your relationships with family, with friends, with coworkers. It ends up distracting you at work, reducing your confidence, reducing your concentration. It erodes your self-esteem, your self-identity, all those different pieces, oftentimes letting you feel like you're worthless, drained emotionally, mentally, physically from this abuse. And then you're left with the question of, did he actually do it on purpose? When we talk through this aspect of intentionality, one of the things I like to do is play both sides. So think of it this way, is you're going to ask the question, did he intentionally hurt me? Did he intentionally abuse me? Put just a not in the phrase of did he intentionally not abuse me? Did he intentionally not hurt me? Now, the reason why I'm just asking you to think of it in a different perspective, even though it sounds weird, is just to have you consider a different reality. Is you're looking at it from a frame of did he intentionally hurt me? Okay, well, did he intentionally protect you from that hurt? It makes it sound a little bit different. Did he intentionally love you? Did he intentionally care for you? Was he intentional about making sure that he listened and responded when you addressed concerns in the relationship? Now it starts to take a new light. It starts to look differently when we switch the intention. If we only focus on did he intentionally hurt me, well, he also didn't intentionally not hurt you. He didn't actually make an intention to do something that was going to help you instead of hurt you. So the intention question, we can play back and forth all day, understanding of intentional or not on the hurt piece. There also was no intention to do the opposite. There was no intention to help you grow, to help you get better, to actually invest in you, because of what happened on the other side, what happened on the other end. So this is important for you to be able to see and understand, is you'll have this question of well, did he intentionally do it? Thinking that if he didn't, it gives you an out. But then you also need to understand he didn't intentionally seek to help you. He didn't intentionally seek to protect you. He didn't intentionally seek to love you, didn't intentionally seek to grow with you, because he did the exact opposite. Okay? So when we mess with the word intention, we can go on both different sides to have you understand, hey, it goes both ways. It's not just on the negative, on the abusive side, but it's also on the positive. He didn't positively impact you in a way that actually is helping you grow, change, and develop. So going back to the initial question, did he intentionally do it? Here's where it gets a little bit dicey. Okay, this is why I pre-framed it with everything that we talked about, so you can see a different perspective first. Because sometimes you get to the place where it is intentional, and sometimes you get to the place where it is not intentional, because it is just how the narcissist operates. So, was there times that I purposely abused? Was there times where I purposely gaslit, where I purposely lied? Yes, 100%. Now, overdoing that for years and years and years, was there times where I did it without thinking about it? 100%. Where it was just a habit. It was just part of how I operated, because someone was going to tell me something, or someone was going to expose me for a lie. So as a result, I had to lie again. It just seemed like the natural thing to do, because it's what I'd done the other hundreds of times beforehand. To be able to avoid this situation, lie. To be able to avoid this situation, deflect. To be able to avoid this situation, gaslight. To be able to avoid this situation, future fake. You do this enough and it becomes habit. Think of it this way. Do you intentionally sit down and focus on tying your shoes every time you do it? Like, do you focus on which loop goes through which loop? Like, do you intentionally get into the car each time and be like, okay, I need to take the key, I need to put it into the keyhole, and I need to turn it? Do you think of that? No, you don't, because it's habit at this point. Okay? It's habit because you've done it so much. Here's the thing, is a narcissist has done it so much, it becomes a habit. And so then it's not about intention. It's about this is how he operates on a day-to-day basis, and is unwilling to see any other reality. Is unwilling to see that, hey, I should probably stop this. Is unwilling to listen to you when you say, hey, this is a problem. Is unwilling to actually modify or change or transform themselves because they're unwilling to see another person's perspective. Does this make sense? And if you're still struggling with this, like, I want you to walk through this aspect of, like, did he intentionally hurt me, and understand, hey, he also did not intentionally care, love, or respect you. So as a result, we're in this situation. We're stuck in this place of wondering, wait a second, was this on purpose? Now, whether it's on purpose or not, the end thing that I want you to remember is it doesn't justify the abuse. Oftentimes people ask the question with the back premise of, like, if it's not intentional, then I can stay with him longer. If it's not intentional, if it's just how he is, then maybe I can figure out how to make this work. What that is you bargaining and trying to figure out how you can take and enable more abuse in your life and still live with it. Oftentimes because you're afraid of what might happen if you actually leave. Or you're afraid because of the stories that he's been telling you that you're not good enough, or that no one's going to love you, or that you can't move on, or you can't do it by yourself, or no one's going to care about a single mom with kids. Like, all these stories that are going to play through your head based on the lies that he's told you and the lies that you start to believe. Because until he's willing to confront his lies with truth, with the facts of the situation, nothing is going to change. This is why narcissists can go to therapy and get quote unquote change, but then you don't see a change at home because they're not actually being honest with themselves to the point where they're changing and modifying and growing and actually transforming their lives in small increments of saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do to get better. One of the ways to expose a narcissist and their quote unquote change is ask them how they're going to do it. Well, I'll just talk nicer to you next time. Well, I won't be mean next time. I'll not raise my voice next time. Great. That sounds like a great idea, but that still is not a plan. A plan to actually implement that says how you're going to be held accountable, how you're going to do it, the obstacles you're going to face, how you're going to overcome them, how you're going to make sure it actually doesn't happen again. Narcissists are great at telling you, oh, this is what I'm going to do. They're awful a lot of times at showing you a step-by-step plan of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it to actually implement good behavior, to actually change. This is the part where you'll start to question, wait a second, can he actually change or will he not change? No one in life, including a narcissist, including an empath, no one in life is capable of change without honesty. Honesty to themselves, first and foremost, honesty to other people, honesty to God, honesty in general. Because if you're not clear on the facts of the situation, he can't change, you can't change, no one can change. And so you'll be stuck in this limbo of like, wait a second, maybe I can justify the abuse by figuring out if he actually meant it. The hard part is sometimes people realize that he actually meant it by thinking and understanding words and phrases and sentences that he said to you, where you knew it was coming. You knew he knew what he was doing, and you still accepted it. You still had to be put through it. You still had to endure the abuse. This happens often, where you understand that he's doing it on purpose and it doesn't change anything. It still leaves you in limbo. It still leaves you stuck in the toxic relationship. We see this all the time. So I need you to understand, just knowing the answer to this question is not enough to set you free. You need step-by-step guidance to change the mindset, to rewire the story that you believe to ultimately be free. If we can do that for you today, go to claritychallenge.net. Hear from other survivors and understand how we break people free every single day.